crazy, crazy engaged. Royal do not count them out. They are holding on just about. However, they only have one inhibitor turret. Both Nexus turrets do stand, and that inhibitor in the middle will be respawning shortly, but you see the timer ticking down. 1 minute 34. That Baron will be the next focus target for SK Telecom, and I'm still not sure if Royal can fight for it.
And Royal is still showing some proficiency for fighting, because even with the Baron buff in that last push, it was an extremely close fight for SKT. If Tabe gets a crescendo in the right spot, it could give them something, but knowing that there's a QSS, it makes it more dangerous. Royal doesn't care about fighting early.
The jump in from Impact to equalize the laser on the red carpet, but they're all off of it already. They've entered into the fight. Royal's health bars are just getting demolished. Uzi on the outside trying to do what he can, but it's not going to be enough. Uzi's chased into the base, and SKT wipes him for the ace, the quadra for Piglet.
Bengi stealing the quadra there, just getting the penta at the end. But it's going to be SK Telecom taking this game. Strong performance in game 2 once again. Royal put up a great fight, lots of kills back and forward. But it's SK Telecom taking game 2 in the World Finals.
It's only going to take 8 more minutes than the last game. They solidify it, and they do it just as last time.
That was a much closer affair from the first one, but really SK Telecom pulled it together after some mid-game hiccups. You really have to credit that Ezreal from Piglet making the correct plays in the team fights, being able to play around White's glass cannon Kassadin, and you can tell Royal is on the ropes right now.
You have to be. You saw Jax twice in the top. You saw Lee as well. What do you ban? What's good? We just gave them everything they wanted at their birthday.
Giving them Zed almost worked. I don't think Faker had a monstrous impact on that game. He did try some roam
both
early.
mids did great.
It did not work too well, and White's was definitely not shut down, but it was the overall lanes. And it's so strange, because Royal's lanes seemed absolutely next level against Fnatic, and that is not the case against SK Telecom. All that pre-tournament hype for SKT kind of coming true right now.
Solid play from Piglet in that last game. Let's send it over to Quickshot and his crew for a breakdown of the action. Packed match by SKT.
Thank you very much, D-Man, and what a game. Before we get into breaking it down, I do believe my train is on its way. Give me a ticket. May I have one? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am boarding the SKT train. I do want to talk about this matchup, though, and something to start with every single matchup. I have to highlight Bengi. He was target banned by Royal in game 1. We talked about how he likes to play Jarvan, likes to play Elise, and he got his tournament champion right now with Lee Sin. He's 8-1 with Lee Sin, with a KDA of over 14 in this tournament. His numbers are absolutely phenomenal. And in this game, Royal gave away Zed and Jax and Lee Sin. Like, it's something you can't do.
I was talking about before, like, I don't know why they're banning at Bengi, because he does play all the high-priority junglers here. The real surprise was letting Zed and Jax through for SKT. That is 2 very strong split pushers that they can use, which is the style that SKT likes to use. And then the wild card coming in with Kassadin with the very last pick for them. It was really interesting, and it was not a Royal strategy. You know, usually they have strong lanes early, but they pick all these losing lanes, and then they were going to try and have the upper hand late in the split pushing game with a teleport Kassadin, but it did not work out for them, because when you lose your lanes all early, it kind of guarantees the possibility of a 3-1-1 split push late. That's just what SKT wanted.
So just speaking to Royal pre-game, the Vi ban I can kind of understand, because they think that Vi is an instant kill for Faker, and if Vi just flash ultis White mid and Faker gets first blood, it's GG, dude. And there's honestly not a lot of counterplay to a Vi like Ahri gank or a Vi Zed gank.
I want to take and talk about this composition and what we saw. This game and composition really reminds me of Game 2 against OMG that Royal played, where we had these 2 glass cannon builds. Again, a rumble with the Leandries first, and what we saw was the perfect counterplay to that there. SK Telecom had a read on this. They control vision, they wait very patiently for one person to get out of position, and that's really what drew this game over. Faker catching Godlike in the jungle, and then rotating the same side to take that top position. I mean, pedals to metal there.
That's true, but earlier in the game, you have to say, SKT didn't play it flawlessly. They moved up for a team fight at 16 minutes instead of just split pushing. And that's where Royal got back in the game, because they've got the team fighting team. Tabe flash ulti, the crescendo, almost got back.
Because you're cutting into advantage of, because this is actually something that we've prepped. It is a replay that we're going to pull up onto your screen right now, guys. As you already highlighted, it was actually the saving grace that pulled Royal back into this game. And if it wasn't for getting caught out later, maybe could have turned it. Crepo, talk me through the replay and you know, what Royal did right and maybe what SK did a little wrong.
So Royal got into this position because they lost all their pressure early. As we said, they had this very roam-heavy side, roam-heavy game router on both sides. Their answer, they tried to do that with Cassidy's teleport. Didn't really work, so they're behind. So this is what Monty said. They have this triple threat comp. Real good. In a team fight, basically what they want is Lucky to go in, draw all the aggro, and if he somehow gets blown up, he does his job, because if they're getting lucky, then 3 threats are alive, and they're just going to ravage the entire team. If we roll this script, we see that's what happens. This is Kabe doing a really good crescendo. Catches Piglet after tower shot. Piglet gets blown up. Lucky goes and draws all the aggro. Really good job. Lucky gets blown up by Deathmark. Now Uzi is alive, Starlight is alive, and White is alive. Flashes into Rift Walk into his E. Double kill. This is basically what happens. The AoE team fight blow up all these really squishy targets, do so much damage that you don't even have time to turn around and kill them. This is what basically got them back into the game, and if this would happen to be a repeat process, maybe they could have won the game. But in the end, we have to realize SKT is a really strong team, and they don't make a mistake twice.
And I think what you have to congratulate Royal here is they saw that very small window of Piglet moving a little bit too forward, taking that power shot, and the conviction that with Royal went in was pretty sad.
That's what I'm talking about. You have the initiation on your shot caller.
Well, very final word before we move on.
Yeah, I want to see Royal have an answer to Jax. Either he bans or like answer on Rumble. Like that doesn't really make very much sense. Rumble does not like deal with Jax, and I want to see Uzi, if the enemy team is a split pusher like Zed or Jax, be able to deal with them 1v1. I think he's a little bit scared to get in 1v1 situations and like potentially get outplayed, but he needs to be confident and be like, I'm gonna go 1v1 this Jax.
Well, there is no more room for error if you are Royal or a Royal supporter. They are down 0-2 in the series. We're going to take a quick break from dissecting all the action, actually see what you guys, the fans, have had to say. Earlier today, we did ask you, who has
I have important work to get back to.
Why? And here are some of our favorite answers. At iStops, he said the MVP to me is definitely superhuman reaction and mechanics.
The cosine of your
double lift has no points. This is unique. Now, first of all, you're speaking for double lift. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's not true at all. Okay, so when he first came into the tournament, his first few games, I identified literally 0 mistakes that he made. But as the tournament has gone on, I feel like the level of his opponents has gone up, and he's been making a lot more mistakes, especially in laning phase. I don't think his 2v2 is nearly as strong as I expected, and you see him just get completely bullied around by Pignet and Pooh. And another thing is just that he's not comfortable split pushing solo as Vayne, which I think is a necessary skill.
He does have his moments of sheer brilliance, so
yeah, definitely. And seeing as though you volunteered to take the next one, at KTKGG, my MVP is Faker. Watching him play with such confidence, swagger, and mechanical efficiency sends shivers down my spine. I think someone's going to crush. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, how can we deny what Faker does and his team and everything? He's playing so well. Just whatever catches my eye whenever Gragas is, he plays comfortably doing the flash. Nagna did it too against
the cosine of your root divided by.
So Nagna did it too, and then Faker played so well. Mechanics top notch.
Yeah, super intelligent player. Now our final tweet from @JackRoss. He says,
entry, a never-ending cycle.
Flashiest player at Worlds, but he's never had a bad game either. Think about it, and I agree with that. He's been pretty solid.
Even in SK Telecom's losses,
yes, hurry. I have important work to get back to.
And many of you may not know, but Piglet actually had a higher KDA than Faker in Champion Summer. This guy has had a red-hot season so far, and he can carry just as hard.
It helps with your front line.
Divided by.
That's
shooting from the back line.
Okay, so keep those tweets rolling in. We're at LOL Esports, and be sure to use the hashtag Worlds if you want a chance of getting your answer read on air.
Hurry. I have
a very quick break, but when we return, it is Game 3, potentially the final one between SKT and Royal Club, with Faker and his team just that one win away from taking the season. Will join Shocks to break down the keys to SKT's dominant performance. But first, we take a spin around the globe to see how the world is watching the Season 3 World Championship
Rampage. I can Order, entropy, a never-ending cycle.
gamers, Blake and Benny here. Ready to enter the Logitech G510S. 18 programmable PCs. We'll race to find out who can
I could help you do that.
commands quicker. We're so going down. First, I'm just going to activate the jump Just a little bit tougher, and I can just...
Shut down.
The Logitech G510S with 18
never-ending
programmable G keys. No more finger fatigue, right, Benny?
Plantronics Gaming is proud to announce Rig, headset, and mixer. This fall, games will come to life.
An enemy has been
And
slain.
life will come to games. With detachable boom mic for
Enemy
listening
killing
on the
spree.
go. Master the mix between gaming and life like never before.
I could help you do that better. Very interesting. The cosine of movement divided by
Something cool is about to go down. Brought to you by the refreshingly cool taste of Bud Light. Light it up.
Yes, yes, hurry. I have important work to get back to. I concur.
Something cool is about to go down.
Yes, yes,
Brought
hurry.
to you
I
by
have
the refreshingly
important
cool
work.
taste of Bud Light. Light it up.
You are poorly designed for this. I see your eyes. You defeat. I concur. An enemy has been slain. I could help you do that better. Very interesting. An enemy has been slain. Order, entropy, a never-ending cycle. The cosine of Yuki divided by.
I am a League of Legends player.
Chris Cluey is an NFL punter. He spent most of his career with the Minnesota Vikings, and he's known for his activism in gaming.
My specialty is ranged AD carry. Vayne is my go-to. You know, I enjoy rolling around, throwing crossbow bolts, jumping out of bushes invisible, and then ganking someone. It's a lot of fun.
NFL player played my favorite.
For me, esports is really this burgeoning culture of actual sports, in that you have young adults competing in a team-oriented fashion. And what we're seeing with esports right now is that beginning part where it's growing in popularity and people are starting to realize, hey, this is something I can watch, this is something I can be entertained by, and this is something that I can do. I can play League with my friends, and then when I watch the professionals do it, it's really fun.
I became an NFL player and noticing esport and like promoting it on his Twitter so all his fans will see it is like really awesome. I heard about the NFL like many years ago. I just went to the TV and I found the game. It was Dallas Cowboys playing against the Redskins, and it just instantly caught my interest, and like I got a huge amount of from Tony Romo for some reason, and then from there on I was just a Cowboys fan.
In order to be that good at it's the same amount of time you have to be good at a physical sport. It's just this is a mental sport. And there's also physical aspects. I mean, you have to be able to react. Just as much as the baseball player, see that coming out, probably first blood.
Obviously, the physical demands of pro game are much lower, and I'm sure people would play football 16 hours a day if they could, but it's just not physically possible.
People really enjoy just being able to interact with the people that they see on TV, and I think that in the league, you can see that more and more and more. There's going to be, hey, can I play a game with you? You know, hey, can we get in some matches? Can you teach me some stuff? Because you know that, you know, I can talk to this person. I can log on into their, you know, their Twitch stream or shoutcast or whatever, and I'm right there talking with them. I'm watching them play. I might be playing with them. I might be presented right there in the highlights.
If Peyton Manning could throw footballs during practice and constantly talk to people live on television or live on the internet about how he was throwing footballs, he probably would. I think that's a unique advantage that esports has.
This is really that emergent point where a sports league forms, is that the barrier to entry is very, very simple. It's, for baseball, you get a bat and a glove. For football, you get some pads and a ball. For soccer, you just get something you can kick around. I mean, it's very, very easy. You just get a halfway decent computer, then you just download the game and play. As kids grow up who are comfortable with video games, who have grown up playing video games and understand that this is a socially acceptable thing to do, those kids then become young adults and become old adults, and that's how the world changes. So that's why I think esports is going to be a very legitimate sports scene in the upcoming world.
Has destroyed order, entropy, and never-ending cycle.
Actually has to do with Tabby. Tabby needs to find the confidence in himself. I hope he doesn't like revert back to like a safe pick with the Lulu. He needs to stick with the aggressive supports like Sona and Annie if he can. It's interesting as well actually the Cassie didn't get picked up. I felt that was a very strange pick for White. He did really, really well in the lane, but I thought we would have seen like a Kayle come out of him after 4 against Fnatic, so I thought we would have seen the Kayle come out. But he picked the Castle and actually did really well against a hard lane matchup. So I think White's really performing well this game.
I think we all hope that it goes to 5 games, of course. Now, as Season 3 is about to wrap up, how would you judge your own past year in League Esports?
I think we've had an up and down ride over the past year. I mean, coming from Season 2 where we were actually on this stage, it was fantastic. But it sucks not to be here in this kind of environment, but it's mind-blowing to see how far we've come and how far we're going. Like, coming into next year, there's so many big things that are going to happen, and I really can't wait to be a part of it.
Final question. How do you think the rest of the series is going to go? Do you think Royal has it? Can they pull it back?
I could help you do that.
I want Royal to pull it back. I actually called it 3-1, and I really, really want Royal to come back. Does anyone want a Game 4, Game 5? So, I think we can agree that we want a Game 4, Game 5. So, Royal.
More League of Legends is what we all want, of course. For more League of Legends, we're now going to go back over to the casters.
Thank you very much, Shocks. It is indeed time for Game 3 between SK Telecom T1 and Royal Club, who are 2-0 down so far with one more win. Faker and crew have taken Season 3's title and the Summoners Cup.
Yeah, and one of the big matchups here was going to be Piglet versus Uzi, and Piglet has absolutely stepped up right here, 13-2-10 as Ezreal in 2 wins against Uzi.
Yes,
so
yes,
hurry.
I have
an absolutely
work
momentous
to get back
performance,
to.
and I cannot understate how well Kumandu has played as well. His Thresh and his Zyra have not been talked about much, but they have been incredibly
A summoner has disconnected.
Royal has quite a big task ahead of them. They have to win 3 in a row now against an SKT team that only tends to lose the early games in a series, as we've been talking about, so it only gets harder for them.
Yeah, and joining us once again, as you can see, is Deficio,
Cosine of U
or who
divided
is
by
a little bit riled up about the picks and bans in that last match.
I simply do not understand the way Royal are picking these games. They need to pick stronger lanes so they can snowball SKT. That is what Royal has been good at. That is what they did against Fnatic. They pick strong lanes, they outplay Fnatic in the lanes, they start ahead for snowball. They need to do the same against SKT, and they need to have an answer for the Jax top lane.
Yeah, and once again, you see Royal on the red side, so they do have the potential. Caitlyn has not been locked in early. Caitlyn wins the lane. Starbuck is absolute domination with Caitlyn in game 4, the game that actually got them here before the finals. So really, Royal did what they did. I feel like just to clarify any confusion, Kendall just
what side they're going to be game 1, 3, and 5, which is why they chose red, blue, and if we ever get to game 5, it'll be blue again. This time around, will be SK Telecom blue.
I concur.
What are Royal going to do on the red side this time
instantly. That's the one ban we're going to see every game. In the series SKT played against Naj and Black Sword, they just had their first ban Twitch every game because they picked one guy and I was afraid to shut him down. Here is the
that could be an issue against the Royal. Because now the Jax is going to be open, who are they going to pick against the Jax? If Jax is, they ban Shen themselves now. They're in the same situation. They have to go either Rumble or
how they did it against
Nasus. Now they did it again. So I wonder what Royal is going to go against this Jax.
And this time, SKT actually banned Zed on the blue side, which tells me they didn't care about that, but they get the Jax again, and he has been dominant. Impact has not been outdone in that lane.
And I have to question the Vi ban as well from Royal.
Why are they so scared of Vi?
I'm not totally sure, but Benji has shown he can play so many different champions. He played Jarvan in the first game, he played B in the second game, he did so well. Why do you keep banning out one of his champions when he does something else? But it will be very interesting because they have to do something, Royal.
Yes,
you were
hurry.
talking about
I
the
have
lane phase
important
when we were
work
off
to
there,
get
we were
back
just
to.
discussing it. Caitlyn, you keep wondering why he keeps going. This is Uzi I'm talking about. Why he keeps heading towards that lane. Why is he not going towards that Caitlyn?
It's a good question. Obviously, Royal wants to go for the 2v1. That is what they're best at. So if they get the Vayne, they get a long 2v1, the Vayne will be a perfect pick for them. But so far, they have not been able to get the proper 2v1s. I think he needs to do it safe and go for the Caitlyn so he can actually survive the 2v2 against Piglet. Can't Piglet again, too strong. And here we go. We have the Caitlyn.
Yes, and now this is SKT finally having to adapt a little bit because as far as supports go for Pumandu, Zyra and Thresh have been absolutely dominant for him in both games. Especially generally, I'm thinking Ezreal because it's the safest JD carry as far as laning goes, and he had such a strong game in game 2. But they have a little bit of to just pick whatever support and AD carry they want. If they want to make Royal's kind of counter pick, go for the lane thing, not work as well. Because that has to be what Royal is going for and what SKT has to go for as well.
As expected also, he went back to the Zyra. She's one of the best picks against the Sona, that hard engaged. When Sona goes in, like, puts on the ground, behind Sona, so it hits the enemy team. When he saw the enemy team fight though, where SKT lost, he'll put down his ult half of the engage on Piglet, and 4 people got knocked off, and kind of saved Piglet at least until the Castle came in with the flash riftwall.
So the fact that they pick Corki as well, I think is also more against getting Dovon, because if anyone is going to be better at cleaning up from people running into Zyra's thorns and grass roots, it's I just feel like that is especially
if they're going for like a Zyra Vayne, for instance, they would actually have given the lane. So now they're making sure they have the strong lane, and they're making sure that if they get 2v2, they will do everything they can to outplay them.
Let's talk about those mid lanes because that has been one of the principal points. White Snoozy, Faker and White actually have been closing those lane pairs. We saw it last game, despite the fact he got Zed.
Order,
he went
entropy,
big.
a never-ending cycle.
Kassadin, that's the word I'm after. That's potentially a top lane cannon, I believe. Not White.
That is definitely a top lane cannon. And now they're just going through all the champions they have for top lane to see what can handle the Jax. Kennen is a good option, but I'm afraid that he will not have a much easier time than he has been having the last few games. And this Jax will once again be a huge problem.
Yes,
SKT has their choice of kind of what they want to do here. I think the Jarvan is for sure. The Nidalee I'm not too sure about. The reason that I think Bengi's going to be playing Jarvan as Piglet's having a little fun with this one again. He had the quick last game again. Come the 5-second mark is going to make his real decision. The Jarvan pick, though, is almost an absolute, just because Bengi is so strong.
The Gragas pick now here is really good because it's the safest pick to have. Yeah. If they win for Ari, Roy put us on Vladimir, which they really consider a counter for Ari.
That's got to be Fizz coming in for more.
It pretty much has to be Fizz, and they have to snowball the early game and then win and get back in this series. We are right now.
See how it works out. How do you counter the? How do you see the Kennen versus Jack? Because this is one of the counters we talked about possibly.
Well, he will be able to quantify that big challenge, and he will be able to do that throughout the entire hit around the level 9, 10 points, where Jax is simply going to start outscaling and he can start out-pushing Kennen. But by that time, hopefully Royal is not that far behind as in these 2 games. And the first game and the 1 game start to cross the
And I look at that game right now, and it is very similar to the things they played in the first game. They actually haven't had to change all that much about their playstyle, even though they've had 2 games, or even though they had that first game on the red side. Although this time their lanes are not quite as strong, so Faker's performance in this one, as well as Impact, are probably going to be the 2 most pivotal lanes, not so much the Piglet and Mandu.
But this is what I want to see from Royal. Stronger lanes all around, and at the end, like winning the laning phase, maybe get the first dragon, get the first few towers, and then start snowballing. If White can get a few kills on the face early game, he can definitely carry this game alone.
Well, there are the teams, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much once again, Deficio, for taking us through that, calling quite a lot of those picks, I might add. You guys have really done your research on this one. So, game 3 is upon us. If Raw can pull out a win here, we're back in towards game 4. But if tragedy were to strike in that dangerous level 1 zone, which they have been going towards,
I concur.
SKT could be taking a cup. I think everybody.
A big focus has to be them winning the lanes. Like Jet said, if you lose every lane, you're gonna lose the game. It's been somewhat different picks. For SKT, they've shown a few different things, but if they can keep going with the same sure thing with winning it, it's harder every game for Royal to ban it out.
And the thing I find most interesting is that Faker
I could help
went
you do
back
that
for
better.
Gragas. Yes, it was a safe pick, but it was not a counter pick this time. Faker is saying that he's set to handle any pick that he will throw. One of the legends of Faker before the World Cup is that he could win matchups that he wasn't supposed to be able to win.
See how it works out. The White champion. It's the champion that's always been banned against him in the Chinese scene, but this time around he has got on that Fizz. We've seen some fantastic fizzes throughout the Season 3 World Championships, thinking back to Peke's 17-1-3 that he had on. Then again, it didn't work out too well against Royal. Will we see any level 1 play from these two? Because so far, up against the Zyra, I wouldn't want to run into the jungle and go SKT.
So dangerous, but Royal could significant damage if they were to group up as 5. But this is so different from Royal. They're just setting up a completely defensive line this season. No way in the way that Royal played in the semifinals. They are definitely off their level 1 start game, but I do think it's because
Order, entropy, a never-ending cycle.
See what they got? They're 100 gold up right now. It's pretty efficient for them. Starting with those masteries for top 8, getting a little bit extra money. That's what that will be. We do know, as we saw Impact hitting that ward towards the top lane, so everybody is privy to that location. We'll see what we have going on here as everybody's trying to figure out which lane they really want to go to.
Yeah, they spotted Godlike in that top lane, and you can see already 2v1 switches coming out from SK Telecom, so they want to send Piglet and Mandu in towards that top lane.
Here, a Royal team attempts to come out from the crowd, trying to cheer them on for this game 3 win, but I don't know how much the cheers are going to help the level 1 jungle sneaks.
Nobody looks like they're getting in for that force smite on this time. It was something that Royal tried to test their hand at the bottom side of the map, but everybody stays safe once again.
Important work to get back to.
Very late. Godlike's going to face check in there. He jumps the flash away from this one. We do see Exhaust already burnt out. Flash for Exhaust. That was a very good start.
This is one of the side effects for Royal of not scouting the lanes with any wards or jungle phase. But that's a classic situation of what happens if people are in here. It's bad. What happens if people are not in here? It's not as, like, just don't check. There's no good outcome from checking that brush. Godlike has to use his splash.
If it comes up to a 50-50, doesn't have that. We're saying Rubbing has been swayed too much because of that.
Yes, right. I have important work to get back to.
Down coming up around 7 minutes. So that's where they do
early on though.
Yeah, but even though these are 1v2s,
I concur.
Impact has been outplaying Godlike in all of these games. And the fact that Godlike had to go back to base immediately, Impact is going to be ahead of him in experience, even if he's only 5.
An enemy has been slain.
Godlike trying to soak up a little bit of experience as he knows he's being forced away from the turret here. Might even have to take his E on that second spell at level 2 just to get the same range. He's going to be like
Zyre is just so kind of a new support, but as far as 575, it outranges Kennen, and Mandu can trade without getting damage back.
Aggression from Mandu there. Actually, not lucky. Just keeping the pure aggression from Godlike, making sure he could.
Yes, hurry. I have important work to get back to.
Piglet healthy in that top lane is all they're looking to do. We do see Bengi so here for Impact in the bottom lane. No gates coming from just Red or Blue Buff. He's gonna hold off in the mids. White takes from that at 21-19 on the CS. It's really the first one to back that gains that huge gap, and usually don't come back after that. So we'll have to see how that level goes. They are both 4.
And both junglers being drawn to help with their solo lanes. It's probably looking okay for them so far. It does mean that the aggression from looking on Elise will not be coming into play. He won't be able to get down this bottom, but look at Bengi. Set, ready to pounce. They're going to go Rosie. He is going to get quickly jump away from that one, tries to turn that aggression out, but
very
again,
interesting.
It's another flash burn for Royal.
Yeah, and Royal at the moment is pushed back to almost all of their turrets, which is the situation they've been trying to avoid in both their 2 losses. If Royal cannot take down early turrets into the game, it has been shown that they don't win games.
With the vision of him bottom lane, they know Bengi's not going to be here for this. They don't decide to continue connecting, even though he's very low on mana. Faker isn't it?
The cosine of your
Godlike in trouble here.
Divided by.
So he's going to have to surge away from him. Away from his turret. Both level 4 top laners are level 3 solo.
And this is a slightly odd choice here by Royal as a team, because Lucky chose to build jungle as opposed to continue to 2v2 lane, because they were in a form of just trading as far as 2v2 lanes goes with even gold. Instead, Lucky has tried 2 banks on a Faker, so they're sacrificing Godlike's farm in an attempt to help White's Fizz get.
I concur.
White's there with no mana. They're really trying to stretch out the last of what they can get. Maybe Lucky's just about to go back. Yes, trying to get something off the last gank before he needs to buy. It's a little weird with White's. Pressure is still on. They have to keep Bengi towards the mid lane. With flash down still for Godlike and flash now down in the bottom lane, they have to give him something else to think about. He cannot get to those lanes.
Godlike tries to go aggressive on Piglet and
yes, hurry. I have important work to get back to.
Push from Royal. What about drawing him in, maybe bait him in there. We do have the lane swaps coming out early, so this is Royal switching it up.
Yeah, and no matter what happens in these games, it seems like Impact is always the one left free farming on Jax. And when Royal played against OMG's Jax, they were able to capitalize when Jax was off pushing lanes. But since the rest of Royal's lanes are using, they're not able to do that. So while Impact is free farming, Royal isn't gaining anything from it, and they're only increasing the monster that is Impact Jax in the first 2 games and maybe even the third.
Being a Kennen player myself, this is rough. They're putting in a 5 to level 3 lane here. Impact 6. Now 6. The ultimate's up. A giant minion wave of Bengi on the backside.
There's not a great deal Godlike can do about this one. He's just going to drop and die out of it. First put the bait.
And that is just the entire game coming to a head right there, because Godlike had been denied due to early mistakes, and this 7 minutes later is when the capitalization happens for next game.
Uzi trying to get himself a little bit of food in that top lane, but they both get out. Piglet, you can see bleeding pretty mad. Faker, level 7 onto the 6 of White, and he plays a little bit of the playful trickster in his favor.
Just slippy sliding from that one, but look at this Bengi coming in full out blue buff, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to counter this one. Godlike's not going to get involved in this one. He's a level behind. That's a blue steal being done by SK Telecom.
And SKT is starting to take hold of this game already. They're already up 2-0 in the World Final right now. This could be their road to a 3-0 if they can hold these lanes, if Bengi can continue to gank, and if Godlike stays
right now back as Royal catches up with themselves. But they're behind the gap now, 7 minutes into the game. We have seen Royal drop a turret by this time. We've also seen SKT up in turrets by this time. Now 1-0, about 1,000 gold lead coming in for
Very interesting.
Jarvis making that first
Counter that.
I could help us with that.
That was the other blue.
It's looking at going down the bottom. Maybe one dive at the bottom. I'm still not sure it's going to work because it's against the Jacks.
And here's another thing, they could just go for the Dragon. There's a jungler and an Heimerdinger Support from SKT up there, but instead they're trying to shut down Impact. They land the Shark.
Impact had to know. He started walking back already. Godlike goes in. He's not even 6 yet. He can't go down the slicing maelstrom. They're still going. It takes 3. Impact gets away. The ult just wears off. Looks like he's going to go down. White will get the kill. But look at Lucky and Godlike. They did not fare well in this fight.
Uses the Ignite, cleans that one up, but look at the top lane, they are coming up the pressure there. Royal actually responding to this one, realizing the danger and already back in play.
Let's see what the trade is right here. If Royal can stay alive, I actually think that was a good move overall. They might just end up trading turrets because even though Royal has Godlike and Lucky incredibly low, there is absolutely nothing that can threaten them, so they should be able to trade back a turret.
See Godlike finally getting 6. That slicing maelstrom is up. Maybe a dragon coming up for Royal. They have the area and crowd control effect to get in here.
I concur.
They're gonna go ahead, speak it to Godlike, make sure they grab it. They're gonna go back, possibly to up for that dragon.
They have to make sure that was
Yes, hurry. I have important work to get back to.
The first time they've been even at this stage. 4
Not entirely one-sided.
Oh, Stranglethorn goes down, they go aggressive, didn't really catch it. Waiting for the safe guard away from the but I believe that mid turret will be going down this way.
SKT is always moving at the right time. The mana bar is very low for Whites and Uzi right now. Looks like they are going to put themselves in position for a dragon. The pink boards coming out. They pull a 10-minute dragon. Has been the later one. So these teams slowly going to give respect to the other.
I could help you do that.
Finally hit level 6 by the way. So can we just get the home go on once again by SK Telecom?
975 for the Dragon, 700 for the Godlike.